Ji, I am honored. Got it. I am honored with this opportunity amongst this august audience. I know most of you are involved in fundamental research of consciousness and science. So today's talk is in a different direction. I think what I'm going to talk today is known to all of you. However, as a systems analyst and computer system designer all my professional life, I have tried to take the same approach in making today's presentation, which is based on Jain principles of ahimsa and food. And that's why I'm calling it a non-violent food. Thus, I will talk of food, our anatomy, types of food and their effects on us, energy and other things required in production, transportation, packaging, and cooking, and the impact of natural resources needed, sustainability of supply, economics, and latest research of medical science and other subcomponents. So, the angles are so many, so I will touch briefly. Anyone who wants detailed references to them, I will be happy to email them later on for you. I request you please to keep your questions till the end or send a message on the chat, and I will try to attend them as soon as the flow of a particular subject comes to an end. So with this, let's start. So I will use a PowerPoint presentation. So, as the title, so as the title suggests, it's non-violent food. So what I will do is I will first, try to understand how Lord Mahavira defines non-violence, and then how do we see different types of food in Jainism. So all of you are familiar, most of these quotations are from Acharan. See, I have taken this from Acharan. I so pronounce that all omniscient lords of all times state, speak, propagate, and elaborate. Now I've said that nothing because it is important. Which breathes, which exists, which lives, and which has any essence potential of life. Nothing should be destroyed or ruled or subjugated or harmed or denied of its essence or potential. So this definition I've taken from Acharan, and I think this is very important. Then we see in Acharan, Lord Mahavir says, that which you consider destroying or disciplining or harming or subjugating or killing is like yourself. The results of your activities have to be borne by you, so do not destroy anything. Then he says, like earth is the base on which all living beings exist. Similarly, the sense of experience of all wise men of past, present, and future is that ahimsa is the essence of life. Further, Mahavir said, after understanding the importance of kindness to beings, the enlightened person should preach, disseminate, and applaud it at all places. And I think this is what I'm trying to do today. Now let us see what is food in Jainism. When we look at the literature, we see the type of food that living beings take. Empirical souls I am talking to you. First is the ode for lifespan determination, and it is taken once at the time of birth. Then the second is the room, that is the nutrients and energy absorbed from environment directly by the body. The next is Kavalahar, and this is the food taken as morsel by mouth or injected in the body. The next is Manohar, celestial beings and sadhus with high potentials take this. And the next is Karmanahar. I will talk primarily on Kavalahar, but I see if we relate, you will see that it has effect on the others except the O's. And that's why I have listed all these types of bodies, of all these types of food, so that we can see the impact how Kavlar has improved or about. हिंदी में कहावत है जैसा खाए ऐसा बने मन. And this is what I derive from this. Then essentiality of food. Food is essential to live our life and perform our duties, be they spiritual or the worldly duties. Now, what is non-violent food? Non-violent food, which neither hurts, causes pain, or kills you. And this is very important because we are interested in ourselves. So, I say you, the consumer, nor other try to classify as food or in its production, storage, preparation, consumption, and the environment that is living being in Jainism. So this is a very holistic, and if you see from the system approach, I'm not talking about non-vegetarian food, that is food derived from the animal sources. Here my interest is about myself being well, and I think that's what non-violence in Jainism specifically talks, the karma doctrine and ahimsa. And what are the characteristics of non-violent food? Naturally, it is non-violent, addicting, non-toxic, not harmful, eco-friendly, and socially acceptable. This we are saying in general, but I will add here, excess of and everything is bad. And this we will see later on how Jainism addresses that problem. And the next, which is very important, is that it should be sustainable. Earth can feed all. And this is very important. I will go into details about this. It should be economic, should address the problem of world hunger, and produce mental alertness. We don't want to eat food which makes us mentally dull or lose our thinking faculty. Now further we say in the literature the types of foods to consume. And here we find sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. So here we are addressing primarily the sattvic food under the non-violent food category. And then it should be healthy, rich, and again not taxing. Healthy and rich, I mean it should be enough to provide all of the nutrients that our body and mind need. And the answer to that is that enjoy the gift of plant kingdom, not the plants. I'm not talking about vegetables or other things. Does not hurt anyone. And the examples are vegetables, cereals, legumes, fruits, and roots are particularly put in the different thing and their derivatives, because it is a very debatable question, which root, why not root, etc. And this I'm saying because for us the householders, the world is minimizing, not absolute. So that's why I kept it in this. Now let us say some characteristics are supporting non-violent food. We see in the world that there is a growing trend for vegetarian, vegan, and organically grown food. I don't say that most of these trends are because of ahimsa or uh, mercy on the animals, but it is more for our own health and the environment, to protect the environment, which we are seeing adverse effects as climate change. Then medical research supports NVF. I will give you some references here. And then these are the problems, lifestyle problems like diabetes, stroke, cancer can be minimized by using NVF. I'm saying can be minimized. I'm not saying they will eliminate, because people with these also have these problems. And beneficial effects I have talked earlier: physical and mental fitness, mental alertness, and spiritual enlightenment. And this I'm adding because when we think and do something with non-violent food in mind, invariably we are drifting our thought process towards spirituality. It's eco-friendly because the emissions are minimal and the need for natural resources is also minimal. It addresses world hunger, economical and full of energy. Now, a lot of people say if the whole world becomes vegetarian, animal production will increase. And my response is, why you are worried? Why are you trying to why am I trying to become the boss and take control of this situation? Nature has a self-balancing system, and problem starts when we start managing the nature, and then the nature recoils back on us. So this is a myth, I think, which should be avoided. Now, this is important that far as I know, that there are some deficiencies generally found in non-violent food, like these are vitamin B12, carotene, and antioxidants. Fortunately, there are vegan substitute foods available as supplements for these. So we should be aware that if there are some, deficiencies, we should make up for them. Now let us see the human anatomy. You see here, we have shown the most violent animal and the human being. So we have carnivorous, which are the meat eating, and herbivorous, which are the plant eating, like cows and horses, etc., and we people also. Now these are the four characteristics: have claws for killing, while herbivores have no claws, and we also have no claws. Sharp front teeth for tearing. We don't have sharp teeth in the front. Stomach acid is 20 times strong in meat eating, and it is weak acid in stomach. And they perspire through tongue, and we perspire through skin. So anatomically, we human beings belong to herbivorous or plant-eating living beings. Now, medical science supports this. Like I have read papers, and the declaration, the American Society supports. Then we have the American Heart Association, the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada, the National Institute of Health, USA, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and yoga and meditation practices throughout the world. They support non-violent food because yoga is Chittavritti Nirodh, and food has an impact on our mental processes. All recommend choosing a diet based on a variety of plant foods, grains, vegetables, fruit, and legumes. Please note, I am not including milk here for some reasons. I will talk about that later. Now you see how the natural resources are used. We take water. We find that excess water is used for animal-based foods. There's a whole lot of table giving for each type of food how much water is used, and I have just used 2 or 3 items to show you. Gallons of water needed to produce 1 point of food item. Tomato, for example, 23, wheat 25, chicken 815, and beef 5,000 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of. So you see the amount of water resources, and water is a very limited, scarce resource in the world. Then surface area. Total Earth's surface area is 29% land and 70%, 71% ocean. Of this land surface, 71% is habitable, and the rest is glaciers and barren land. So see, even 29% is now becoming about 20 or 18%. And out of that, 77% is agricultural land used for livestock, meat and dairy. And the result, if you see the output, global calorie supply, 18% is done by meat and dairy, and 81% by plant-based foods. That is energy. And protein supply, 37% meat and dairy, and 63% plant-based foods. I have given the reference here. We can go there and look at all these greater details. So these I'm talking to you from the sustainability point of view. Now we see the affluents. Wastewater generated by so many 7.6 billion chicken, 300 million turkey, and 90 million beef annually. Just imagine the amount of waste, their wings and bones and other things. And factory production generates dung, urine. This is very true in USA, where instead of the grazing cows, now they build multi-storied factories where they keep the cows in cages, feed them continuously, and the discharge of urine and dung, it is killing large water bodies in Midwest there. Earlier, this agriculture waste was used by the farmers as fertilizers or as fuel, and they were never thrown away. Greenhouse gases. As food is produced, unlike earlier, even the vegetables, the other thing, chicken, they're all produced, and they are quickly for accelerating the production. Greenhouses are used, and the emissions are very significant, causing large bodies of carbon dioxide, escaping in the environment. Then we see transportation. Now what is happening, if you see above, the factory is being produced, the food is being produced in factories. This means there is a concentration of food producing centers in a country and even in the world. Like the Amazon forests are destroyed because they are producing corn to be fed to the cows. Now you see, besides producing that means we are using transportation, transporting the meat or the food, and then the processed food to the consumers. And there is a large amount of energy used to produce these, causing affluence and use of natural resources. Then another thing is when you produce foods like the convenience foods, then we do use non-biodegradable packaging for convenience foods, throw away. Like earlier when you were young, we used to have Coke in a glass bottle which was returned. Now you drink a Coke and throw away the plastic. Or the soups and other things or juices. Amount of packaging that we are using in food is amazing. Now this I have just shown food energy required in a food cycle. And we have taken two examples of USA and let us say an African country. Because Africa I have taken, India is in between them. Africa where technology is used less, mostly human, cultivation and human at home or other places. You see the amount of energy needed for preparation and cooking. And this I feel is more because they are talking both indeed both these places. It is the animal food, non-vegetarian food that they are preparing or cooking. Then you see the packaging. Now this packaging is increasing as we industrialize, and most of this packaging has to be thrown away. Transporting and distribution and agriculture production. This USA they use more energy in agriculture production because of mechanization, while in Africa or to some extent in India, we still use animal, or the human energy to produce food. So this I'm showing it to show the impact of energy consumption, energy requirement in different phases of food, from preparation from production to cooking, to making it available to us and cooking. And this is a very good, to me, this looks a very good area as an environmentalist to address the problem of, you know, climate change, besides the other factors that we have seen. This I have said earlier, but I say impact of non-violent food is avoidance of sickness, laziness, misdirection, and evil thoughts. Sattvic ahar, these are the qualities of sattvic ahar, if you ask me. That enhances alertness, strength, mental processes, and willpower to do your jobs better, wellness, and lead a happy life for you. And I said we have initiated a research project by us along with Professor Vinay Jain. He had done this earlier, this project of Preksha Dhyan to control aggression among the students. Now we are doing the similar research project on 500 school children to see if the natural foods can impact their learning and aggression. Then it's pocket friendly. We all know that animal based foods are more expensive because they are processed. And feeling of wellness and compassion. The feeling that I'm not killing, immediately we develop feeling of compassion towards other living beings. On other living beings, it does not cause pain to produce food, get hurt or scared, get killed so that they can also continue to be of sustainable, healthy food to us. Here I talk to you about milk, and that is a very good example to talk about here. Our scriptures, they always say Kheer Sagar for giving, the first bath to the Lord. And even today in our temples, even we use, milk to give the holy bath to the idols. And our sadhus and sadhus, they take it. So now this question is why? Because earlier the cow was a part of family. We used to take care of them as family members, keep them happier than even us. And as a gift, they used to give milk to us. So that was a source that we are not hurting the source of milk production. But today, like in USA, they keep them uh, in the factories, tightly, packed together, continue feeding them. Even I'm told they feed ground beef to them, and they don't move the calf when it's brought, immediately it is slaughtered. So, if we produce food like that, it is acceptable. But if not, and it is eco-friendly, because as one sense living beings, air, water, earth, fire and vegetation, bodied living beings constitute the environment. And this is very prominent when we see rainforests disappearing in South America and the impact on climate change. How glaciers, large mountains of glaciers, they are melting, and we see floods, tsunamis, and things like this. In Jain philosophy, ahimsa is the topmost consideration, whether it is food or anything. I can say that Jainism is the ahimsa dharma, ahimsa paramo dharma. Now in Jainism, we say that the word diet refers to the harmonious relationship between food we take, our health, environment we live in, and environment of our enhancement of our abilities to perform and make our existence happy and blissful. It is the most important need of the living beings. I, but then I say until I become a jinnah, as without it, we may not be able to and food and behavior as per Jains have very strong correlation. And this has been proved scientifically through a number of experiments. Now in Islam, we say Pravachan Mata, or the 13, the 5 vows, and then 5 bhuktis and 3 samitis. So attitude of carefulness, samitis and bhuktis, this is very important, given a very high importance in Jainism for us to progress on the path of spiritual purification. So it means that we should use plant-based food in right quantity and content. This means that I should not be overeating or eating only one type of food. I should have a balanced food and eat the right quantities that is required. And I will show you how Jainism is supposed this thing. Then second thing which is very important it says is, hygiene, food hygiene. Clean and germ-free potable water. From ancient times, Jains were identified by carrying a strained cloth and a water pot with them all the time. So wherever they get water, they will strain it and then take the water and wash the cloth in the source of water, that is the well or under the pump from which they take the water. And this is very important. Today we all take RO water now because it has become so bad. Then the food hygiene. Wash veggies and other cereals thoroughly before cooking. We may laugh, but I have seen in my own life, my non-Jain friends, how they just take cereals and veggies and cook them without even seeing what is there, what is not there. But in our Jain families, we are very careful that we wash them and we see nothing is bad. For cereals, for example, we sift them to take out, the what you call the, germs or the things before cooking. So food hygiene is greatly emphasized in Jainism, And all these I'm talking to you, they come from this, doctrine of Guptis and Samitis. Then they say differentiate between edible and inedible food types. Even fruits, for example, a vegetable which have become bad, we say don't eat them. Or if some fruits or vegetables which have large number of insects, naturally we say don't eat those vegetables. So we have to be able to differentiate between edible and inedible food types, even when we are, committed to non-violent food. And then we should be careful about sourcing, expiry date, wastage, and mixing of different types of edibles. And this I'm taking from the six external finances in Jainism, Vritti, Prati, Sankhya. That is, it says that the monk should be very careful how to accept food, from where to accept food, what to see, etc. So this is very important. And I'm translating for us because food is now packaged. Expiry date is very important. Careful about sourcing. Instead of eating the food from, it being produced or cooked at an unhygienic place, we should be very careful. Wastage, of course, and mixing of different forms of edibles. That also is very important. We should be. Then timing. Jains refer to it as day timing. And but I try to modify slightly and say preferably during day or at least 2 to 3 hours before retiring for sleep. And this I simplified because we have a lot of people from US and from Europe, especially the Nordic countries. In the Nordic countries, where in the winter the sun rises only for an hour or two. So we said, okay, instead of the solar watch, you use the biological watch, and then do it like that. So day dining is the idea that we should be very careful, and this helps in actual lepahar that we were talking earlier, and also to make sure that the food we are taking is free from insects, impurities, etc. Avoid fermented food as much as possible, including alcohol. Because when we ferment, naturally we are, promoting, you know, the germs to, the, the germs to become a part of the food. So we say avoid fermented food as much as possible. And I've included alcohol also because we are talking of non-violent food and sattvic food. Now the next is periodic fasting or unshan. This is some, I'm using these, for example, non-violence, attitude of careful and sustained, and now, Prati Sankhya and Anshan. These are Jain, hallmarks or trademarks, but we let them go and now people claim them as their trademarks. Periodic fasting is very important from health point of view. Gandhi practiced this up to the hilt. Like Lord Mahavir during his penance of 12 and a half years, you have all read. He took meals only at 256 times. That means every 13 days he used to take food on the average. So periodic fasting is very important even today. Problem of obesity that we face. The doctor suggests please give rest to your body for 16 hours. That is after dinner till the next meal so that food is digested. So periodic fasting is very important and mentioned specifically in Jain philosophy. Then the next is reduce food intake on regular basis. Onodari. Who talks about this? We find it only in Jain philosophy because we are talking of non-violent food. And if we accept this, most of our physical problems will be addressed, overweight or other things. And क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? ये कौन? Yeah. Avoid a particular taste every day. That's parityak. I personally feel this is an extremely important directive given in Jain philosophy for non-violent food to take care of diabetes, high blood pressure, acidity, etc. And we have initiated a research process by us. Dr. Sancheti is working with us on this project. And I was talking to him, I said, everything has been hijacked. Let us do this as a project and give it to the world. That this is the Jain view on how to be healthy. Now, acknowledgements. My presentation is greatly influenced by the research of the following. Professor, and these are all my friends, except Jack Robbins, whom I have not met. Dr. D.C. Jain, ex-Director General Health Services and Vice Principal, Vardhaman Mahavir Medical College. Professor Vinay Jain is a trustee of ISDS and a very dear friend. Jack Robbins, the first man, he was the owner of Baskin and Robbins ice cream. He gave that up. And he wrote the book Diet for America and Food Revolutions. And as a result, meat consumption in America reduced by 10% in 1 year. Professor Sancheti is now involved in a research on Rasparitya, internet researches, and last and the most important is my own experiences and research of Jain philosophy. I close this with this thing. Philip Wallen, some of you might have heard him. He was the ex-CEO of Citicorp in Australia. Now he is I think, one of the finest, votary of vegan food. And this is a speech that he gave. Whatever I have talked, you will see how forcefully, in a non-religious manner, he has conveyed the message. I will send this presentation to Purvi. If anyone of you wants to hear this, you are most welcome to listen here. So, friends, thank you very much. Now I am open for questions.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर साहब. Now this forum is open for the question. Whoever want to ask the question, please raise your hands. So I shall take one by one.
GC Jain.
Yes, ये GC Jain साहब, ये उससे पहले ये पोखरना साहब का हाथ आ गया है.
हाँ बिल्कुल.
तो भंडारी साहब का तो मैं उनको ले लेता हूँ
पहले उनके ले लीजिए, मुझे बाद में ले लेना. थैंक यू सर.
हाँ, ये पोखरना साहब बोलिए साहब.
हाँ, एक्चुअली आपका व्याख्यान बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत सिंपल था और बहुत एग्जॉस्टिव था. सभी फैक्टर्स आपने अकाउंट में ले लिया. मतलब बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. और बहुत सिंपल था, मतलब बहुत अच्छी बात है. मतलब बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको.
मैं ग्राफ दिखा सकता था जो प्रोफेसर विनय जैन ने रिसर्च की है कि अंदर बॉडी में क्या होता है, वो होता है.
बिल्कुल.
मैंने कहा आई एम नॉट हियर टू क्या कहते हैं, impress you with the type of detail that go through. References I will give you, and I don't want to take credit of the others. My job is as an integrator that I want to put things together ताकि कुछ फायदा हो, मुझे भी हो और औरों को भी फायदा होना चाहिए.
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा था. मेरा दो प्रश्न है. मतलब एक्चुअली सबसे पहला प्रश्न है कि आपने जो रोम टाइप का जो फूड आपने मेंशन किया था, डायरेक्टली जो ले सकते हैं, उसके बारे में थोड़ा डिटेल जानना चाहता हूँ मैं. मतलब और वो इसलिए कि यहाँ गुजरात में एक एग्जाम्पल थे. मतलब ये प्रहलाद भाई जानी, वो 75 साल तक खाना नहीं खाया और पानी नहीं पिया. और जोधपुर में भी ऐसा एक एग्जाम्पल थे. मतलब कि वो अपने बाला सती जी 43 साल तक खाना नहीं खाया और पानी नहीं पिया. मतलब तो वो मेरे को लगता है वो इस रोम वाला जो आपने फूड डिस्क्राइब किया है उसी से था, मतलब शायद। तो वो कंफर्म
मैं
करना चाहता हूँ। और वो
हाँ
क्या होता है, मतलब क्या चीज?
हाँ देखो, ये मैंने, यू विल बी सरप्राइज, माय ग्रैंड डॉटर हु इज ए फ्रेंच सिटीजन, उसने मेरे से पूछा व्हेन शी वाज इन द स्कूल. So I
ओह,
told her, we have these skin pores and all these things. They absorb energy from the. It's not possible. So I told her photosynthesis, plant में कैसे होती है ये. तो वो अपने टीचर के पास गई स्कूल में पूछने के लिए कि ये पॉसिबल है क्या. तो उसने मना कर दिया कि बिकॉज दे हैव नॉट सीन. बट वी गो टू द बीच यूरोप के अंदर. व्हाई डू दे गो टू द बीच एंड बी नेकेड? आई एम जस्ट गिविंग अ वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल. जो
बिल्कुल।
विटामिन, जो इंडोर लिविंग में जो डेफिशिएंसी होती है हमारे यहाँ, विटामिन डी की और अदर्स की, हाउ डू इट गेट दिस? अब वो नहीं मिलती इससे, तो वो कहते हैं सप्लीमेंट लो, 60,000 की टैबलेट एवरी वीक लो, ये लो वो लो. सो आवर बॉडी हैज दिस. अब मैं तो देखिए जैन धर्म की बात करता हूँ. दिगंबर जैन कहते हैं कि महावीर भगवान जब उनको केवल ज्ञान हो गया था, उसके बाद उन्होंने आहार नहीं लिया. तो इसमें मेरे को जो है दो साइंटिफिक प्रिंसिपल लगते हैं कि देखिए, मोस्ट ऑफ द फूड रिक्वायरमेंट दैट वी हैव एज ए इंजीनियर इज कि दिस इज टू मिनिमाइज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ फोर्स ऑफ फ्रिक्शन. आप कर्मा कह सकते हो. जब आप जिन बन जाते हो तो ये फोर्स ऑफ फ्रिक्शन जीरो हो जाती है. So that energy you don't need. So you need very little energy to sustain. अब वो ओज आहार करें या कुछ भी करें, ना भी खाएं तो भी काम चलता है. So I think there is a strong, I cannot demonstrate to you, but I am giving you from a live example कि हम बीच पे क्यों जाते हैं. घरों में है ना, वो लैंप लगवाते हैं ना घरों में कि भाई चलो लेट के कौन सी लाइट होती है, अल्ट्रा वायलेट लाइट, कौन सी लाइट, उसके नीचे लेटते हैं ताकि हमारी बॉडी उसको एब्जॉर्ब करे. तो दिस इज व्हाट. अच्छा, हम तेल क्यों मिलते हैं?
हाँ,
नहीं, ये ओज आहार में आती है, वो लेप आहार में आएगी. हाँ, सॉरी. ओ सॉरी, आई एम वेरी सॉरी, आई एम वेरी सॉरी. व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग इज नॉट ओज. ओज इज एट द टाइम ऑफ बर्थ ओनली. आई वाज टॉकिंग ऑफ द लेप आहार.
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
हाँ, ओज से ना द टाइम ऑफ बर्थ होती है.
ओज अलग है.
So I am very sorry कि I missed that. हाँ.
अच्छा, इसके इससे संबंधित